Welcome to the City Manager's Report. The City Manager's Report, a look at city updates and municipal news, and a preview of the next Oshkosh Common Council meeting agenda. Your hosts, Emily Springstrow of Oshkosh Media and City Manager Mark Roloff.
Hello everyone, and thank you for joining us for City Manager's Report on GovTV, your source for all of the latest and greatest news and updates happening right here in your city of Oshkosh. My name is Emily Springstrow, your host, along with my co-host here, our City Manager, Mark Roloff. Welcome, Mark. Thanks for joining us today.
Great to be here, Emily.
Yes, so we're going to go ahead and dive into our hot topics for the first half of today's show. There's really only one main topic that we're going to cover in the first half today in our special event of CMR today. We'll take a little break and then we'll review the City Council meeting agenda for Tuesday, February 14th, 2017. So, Mark, we're going to get right into the first half. We don't want to cut ourselves short here. There was a big announcement that was made just yesterday on Wednesday, and we got a lot to talk about. But before we get into it, I'm going to kind of just let a little bit of the video do some of the talking. Let's take a look.
Ready? We couldn't be more pleased to be here today and announce that the Milwaukee Bucks have purchased a D-League team and have decided to play in Oshkosh right here.
So how long have you been waiting to hear those words, Mark?
Way too long. This is a project that has probably been going on for about a year now, on and off. Some days very hopeful, some days it'll never get done. But yesterday was a culmination of a lot of work by a lot of people, and I was very pleased. You couldn't have pulled the smile off my face yesterday.
Yes, and that little clip we saw was from the press conference that took place. People heard about it a few days in advance, and the excitement was building up until this press conference that took place at 3 o'clock yesterday. We've got kind of a little bit of a highlight reel, so we're going to go ahead and take a look at some of the main quotes, and then we'll discuss after. Let's take a look.
The passion, the appetite, the thirst that this community has had for a D-League team and to partner with the Milwaukee Bucks has just been overwhelming and incredible.
We're so excited, looking forward to opening night to introduce an exciting, fun, family-friendly brand of basketball that is the NBA Development League.
We feel very secure that this is where we're supposed to be, this is where we wanted to be, and this is where we're going to call home.
First, everybody in town, can you believe it? The process with the city have been spectacular. They were as charged up about this idea as about anyone. What I've been saying for the last 9 months is that this deal is not a basketball deal. This deal is about redevelopment. We specifically are going to be on the Buck staff site on South Main at South Park for the reason that we think we can be a catalyst for significant change and moving this city forward in a place that's needed it.
Oshkosh is experiencing a boom again. We were a boom town 100 and some years ago because of lumber. We are now a boom town again because of the citizens of Oshkosh and their enthusiasm to make this just a great, great city.
Let the ball game begin. Welcome to Oshkosh, the Milwaukee Bucks. Thank you.
Now, those were just a few of the highlights from the press conference. It was about 25 minutes long, and you can't even explain the energy that was in that room.
It was really interesting. I was speaking with one of the Bucks legends that came. There were 5 members, former members of the Milwaukee Bucks were there, and it was Fred Roberts, who was with the team in the 80s and 90s, and he actually lives in Utah and was there when the Utah Jazz made their D-League announcement a couple of years ago. And he said there is no comparison about the energy in the room, the enthusiasm, the number of people. We just blew it away. And I think that says a lot about our community, their enthusiasm for this project, their enthusiasm to really make something happen. This, as Greg said, this is not just about a basketball team. This is about economic development, turning around our central city. And that's just hearing somebody from the outside make that observation, comparatively speaking, the welcome that Oshkosh has given to the Bucks and the D-League, the proposal is now, and now the team itself is nothing short of fantastic.
And you made a great point there. It's catching on. People are understanding that this is not just an arena that's getting built. It is so much more than that. It's the first domino to fall on the South Side Sawdust District. Tell us a little bit about what it's taken to get to this point. I mean, it's been a long time coming. We've been talking about it for a while, and it's been talked about behind the scenes for a while, even before that.
There were so many people, you know, that was a big audience there, and you saw there were probably 10 different news cameras, so they were from a lot of different markets. And the people that were there were a lot of people who gave little bits of contributions, whether it was Tom Castle from Castle Pierce and his uncle Mike lending us a boat to take the Bucks representatives up and down the river during the summer. Now you know how long we've been working on this thing. To Daryl Sims lending his expertise in sports management. Daryl's the athletic director of the University of Wisconsin-Oshkosh. Daryl lent his expertise to this, and really was talking turkey with the Bucks folks in a way that I never could, because Daryl has that skill and that knowledge. There were so many other people along the way that first people introduced me to Greg Pierce. I didn't know a year ago. I didn't know Greg Pierce from anybody. And now we've just become partners and recognize the value that this has for the community. Carlene Grabner with the Community Foundation, who introduced me to Greg. When you think about local businesses like Blue Door Consulting that helped put the package together. Of course, a lot of kudos were given to Go EDC. They had a research intern over the summer who pulled some incredible statistics about how much of a sports community we really are, with data to prove it. It was all those little things that got pieced together, and then Greg and his group put together a wonderful, very professional, sound business package. A lot of people don't know that Greg has an ownership interest in a baseball team in North Carolina, so this was not his first rodeo. So he had experience, and he drew upon the resources of the community to make this proposal blow away the competition. In truth, we knew we had this locked up in our minds, not necessarily our heart, but in our minds, we knew we had this locked up in September and October because of how well our proposal was, and we knew that the Bucks were very receptive to it. They still had to do their due diligence, but we were still working on this the whole time.
And it's so cool to hear all of the little pieces too. Not a lot of people realize all the little things that had to happen to make this work. And just talking about the collaboration and the partnerships, and it's all just such a positive feeling throughout the whole thing.
Oh, absolutely. And you know, it's interesting how the whole Sawdust District idea has taken root. People are really excited about it. You know, we've been known as a Sawdust City for years, and of course the lumber mills are all gone. They've been gone for years, but it's still stuck with us. So having the term Sawdust District is really fascinating. And you know, we've talked about this drawing before. This is still very conceptual. This was done for the Bucks. This was one of the items that was in the package that was presented to the Bucks organization. And when they saw what the arena could be and how it could fill in, and how there were other anchors that we were looking at, they're the first anchor, but there are other anchors. There's going to be the office complex. And again, this is all conceptual, but it's an idea that we want to show we had a vision for what could happen. The Bucks and their owners are very interested in being a participant, not just in the arena itself, but the office district. And of course, the Pioneer property is something that we've got a local developer who has an option on the site. This rendering is somebody else's rendering, but the idea is that it can really be something special. And of course, the marina is the other aspect of that. There were some wonderful glory days that we had with the marina, and there's no reason why that can't come back, because we're still a very strong boating community. But that entire package says that we have a vision for the downtown, and the South Shore has been just overlooked for so long, and now it's getting a lot of energy and excitement, and we're very happy with the reception that we've gotten. We've got a lot of work to do yet, but great reception and great enthusiasm.
Great community Enthusiasm, exactly. And so those renderings were available at the press conference. People were looking at them. Everyone was so excited. The whole day was just an exciting day, really. So after the press conference, they had a little basketball clinic out at the Y where the press conference was. So that was pretty cool to watch. And then it all ended with a viewing party out at the bar. It was absolutely packed. I kept telling people that I had to park down at PetSmart and Dick's Sporting Goods because the parking lot was completely full, and people were coming. It was exciting.
Yeah, there was an area for the VIP which got crashed immediately because there were just so many people in there. People had to go somewhere, and people were there to view the Bucks game. They got to meet some of the Bucks legends. There were 5 of them there. It was so nice that they were so gracious. They sat there for photographs for hours on end.
They did, yeah.
And everybody at the bar was very excited about it. There was a room, as I said, there was supposed to be a room for VIPs. It got crashed immediately. Nobody cared. Everybody was so happy, and you could just see the Bucks representatives who stuck around were so impressed with how the community was receiving us, and they had some very nice things to say. And that's right, we have a video of one of them.
Yes, we were able to grab one away from the party for just a couple of seconds. So let's take a look at what the Bucks representative had to say and take a look at what the party looked like too.
For us, Oshkosh was the perfect fit of city and partners to go along with it, and we just really felt this was going to be the best opportunity for us to be successful. It's been incredible. I mean, they've been great partners all the way through, from the mayor to the city manager to Greg really helping to shepherd the whole process. It's been, such an easy, smooth process for us. I know it took a little bit longer than I think some people thought, but it was really just kind of getting everything in line. But the patience and the partnership that they've shown from this start shows us how successful we're going to be.
I like the comment he made. It took a little longer than some people might have thought, but
oh yeah, but everybody is very excited now that it's getting done.
So you can see just how busy it was there. Standing room only. All these Bucks former greats they were wonderful the whole night to have, and everyone had a great time. Of course, I have to ask you, what is the new arena going to look like? I mean, we've seen the renderings of the Sawdust District, and there were a few pictures out there as well of the new arena.
There were some great renderings. It's going to be an 80,000 square foot building on the site, but you can see they did an open air. They kind of tore off the roof in the rendering just to give you an idea of what it would look like. 3,500 seats. Their goal is to get 1,100 season tickets secured, which I think they're on their way to. They were taking deposits last night. A lot of people signed up. I signed up. I got sucked into it as well. It was very exciting. But you can see that this can also be transferred into at least 2 basketball courts for youth tournaments and things like that, volleyball tournaments, indoor soccer tournaments, and of course, a restaurant and bar there that'll be thematic as well, a Bucks gift shop, just a lot of things that you'd expect. A lot of folks have been to Timber Rattler games. Just imagine that in an arena with basketball and all the fun and experience that you get. And now you're going to have it right here in Oshkosh for everybody to enjoy.
And it's so exciting. And that was the first time I saw these renderings yesterday at the press conference. So it was really cool to see that and kind of make it feel even more real already. So they're very ambitious on starting, hopefully at the start of the season opener. And so that's a lofty goal. And we are going to be looking forward to getting updates on future episodes of City Manager's Report. And I can guarantee you, you're going to be hearing a lot more about this in the next few months.
Oh, absolutely.
So that's going to wrap up the first half. It's that time of the show now where viewers have a chance to ask the city manager anything they like about anything that's going on here in Oshkosh. So let's go ahead and see what the question is this week. So Mark, the question, of course, has to do with our theme of the show today, and that is, what will the name of the new team be?
I've been asked that question so many times, and the answer is it's really going to be determined. The Bucks will ultimately make that selection, but they are taking recommendations. They've on their website. It's the nba.com/Bucks/D-League, and you can submit your team name idea. They don't have a team name decided yet, so if you've got some wonderful inspiration, I'd send it in, and you might just find yourself being a the person who gave the name to the team.
There were a few names bouncing around at the viewing party and at the press conference that were kind of funny too. So
Yeah, I will write that off to probably the location of that, and we'll wait for something from the Bucks on that.
yes, there's no such thing as a bad recommendation, right? So if you'd like to send a question to Mark, Bucks or non-Bucks related, you can send them to us on Twitter at City of Oshkosh, post it on our Facebook wall under Oshkosh Media, or email it to us at question@ci.oshkosh.wi.us. We're going to take a little break here on CMR, and when we return, we'll go ahead and hit the agenda for Tuesday, February 14th, 2017. We'll be right back. Welcome back to City Manager's Report. Thanks again for joining us. Now we've got our City Manager here with us, and we're going to go ahead and take a look at some of the highlights for the upcoming City Council meeting on February 14th, 2017. So, Mark, first item on the Common Council meeting agenda is item number 6, Resolution 17-49, and that's authorize submitting the application to WEDC for Community Development Investment Grant for South Main Street improvements by the arena. So this is, again, going along with our theme that we have here.
We're going to be seeing a lot of this over the next few months. There'll be a lot of things coming up, and this is one of them. In this case, the Wisconsin Economic Development Corporation has grants for public improvements to help along a project that has some economic development benefit. Clearly, the Bucks Arena has that capability, and we are going to be putting in $3.3 million in public improvements. So we're looking for a $250,000 grant. Don't know if we'll get it, but if we do, it'll help offset some of those costs. Those costs are going to be fronted by the owners of the arena, but they'll be reimbursed through a TIF that's being proposed. This will help lower those costs and pay off the TIF quicker if we're successful with this grant.
Okay, so this is one of the many behind-the-scene things that we'll see coming across the agenda in the coming months.
Yeah, I mean, these are things we've been working on. We've been working on this grant application for months, but until the announcement was made, we really couldn't do much with it. Now we've got something solid that we can propose, and we're moving forward with it.
Wonderful. Next item we have to talk about, Resolution 17-54, and that's purchase approval for some flooring at the Oshkosh Public Museum for their new exhibit, The People of the Waters, for about $28,000.
Right. There's a bunch of pieces that you're going to see over the next few months, and we've already seen some in which the People of the Waters exhibit's getting worked on. This is just the flooring part, but I think the most important thing for people to realize is that the museum remains open. The old waterways exhibit is gone, and there's a little bit of a construction zone in there, but People Waters of the exhibit is underway. But meanwhile, we have another roving traveling exhibit. Jan Brett has come back, and we've got Welcome to the World of Jan Brett. It's a little different from her last one that she had here, but it's going to be February 4th to May 14th. So there's still lots of things going on. Grandma's Attic is still open. All the other, the Apostle Clock, all the other features of the museum are still open.
Just that little area where the new exhibit will be going is a little bit of a construction zone.
That's about it. So,
yeah.
Swing by, take a look at the Jan Brett exhibit. If you've got young kids, I can tell you when I first moved to Oshkosh, we had the Jan Brett exhibit. I took my kids when they were younger.
It's so cool.
It's wonderful. The kids get it because they see the book at school. So I guess it's a commercial message for them, but go to the museum. It'll be worth the wait.
Definitely. Moving on in the agenda, Mark, item number 15 under pending ordinances. We have one here to amend the residential rental contact registration part of the ordinance. What exactly is this amendment? I know we're always asking for updates on the the residential rental inspections program. What exactly exactly is the amendment being made to this now?
Well, we understand that there are concerns over that, and of course, everybody knows that we've been sued over this issue. We still believe we're following the law, and we've always believed that. But there are things that, if they call some things into question, we certainly want to make sure we're in compliance. And just in case there's any questions, we identified a couple things. There was a provision in there about we might withhold occupancy, where we can't do that, so we're removing that provision. There's other ones about a 21-day notice prior to inspection. Because we're doing appointments, that's not necessary. So we'll be making appointments at your convenience. We'll set up an arrangement with you as a tenant, and we'll do that. So that's not necessary. And then just making sure that clarify when inspections will be done with consent or upon a warrant, which is required by law anyway. So it's just tidying up the different provisions that are in the state statute that we have to follow, and just demonstrating that we're going to follow the law in every way, shape, and form. But we feel this is still necessary to protect public health and safety.
You mentioned the lawsuit. The city had made an announcement that it was getting removed to federal court. What's the status on that with where everything could be?
Well, one of the issues was raised was a Fourth Amendment illegal search and seizure. We absolutely reject that idea. I think it's ridiculous. We worked specifically in order to protect those rights. But because it was raised as an issue, we felt it was appropriate to move it to federal court. It takes everything with it, including the state issues, but it'll be in one location, but the federal courts will take a look at this issue.
But of course, a big issue was the state law. We're trying to coincide with what the state requires. You'd still like to see changes made to that regardless of everything else.
Oh, absolutely. The fact that we have to do a citywide ordinance, I know that a lot of people don't agree with that. I've had several people, including the author of the bill, that said it was never intended to be that. But the apartment association lobbied to make that a provision that required us to do it, and they admitted it at a recent meeting. So that's why we're doing it citywide. I would prefer not to do it that way. I know the council would prefer not to do it that way. And if we can get some changes made, some common sense changes, so that we have a little more flexibility at the local level, I think it'll be better for everybody.
Definitely. So a lot of information, a lot of updates, and it's always changing. So by the time people watch this on Tuesday, things might have changed as well. For more information on the program itself, we've got a lot of great information on the city website on our Hot Topics page. So definitely check that out if you've got questions about how the program will work. Under new ordinances, Mark, item number 17, we want to talk about the item that states repeal and recreate Chapter 2 of the City of Oshkosh Municipal Code pertaining to administration. That's dealing with the anti-discrimination in housing. What exactly is this item about?
Well, originally, Councilmember Stepanek had asked that we take a look at adding something to our code that provides for some anti-discrimination clauses, specifically related to gender identity and things of that nature. As we were going through Chapter 2, which was the appropriate place, we found a lot of other things that really needed to get clarified, some outdated boards and commissions, so we spent some time cleaning that up. We weren't able to get the anti-discrimination part done until we got that all cleaned up. Now it's all cleaned up, and we're bringing it to council, and they'll be considering not just the housekeeping parts, but also the anti-discrimination clause in our housing requirements, and then how we address those issues should they come up.
Excellent. Well, we look forward to hearing more about that during the council meeting. And moving on to item number 19, Resolution 17-62, that's approved planned development for a multifamily residential development at 173 West Ripple. And this was a big item of discussion at Tuesday's Plan Commission meeting. Maybe you can tell us kind of what the concern is and what the big deal is here.
Well, this is an area on the edge of town, so a lot of residents from outside the city came to express some concerns. It's a multifamily housing complex. It's right there at the corner of Oregon and Ripple Avenue. And I think there were several concerns that I think were addressed, concern about impact on schools. This is not really intended to be an area for families. The school district was there to, their belief is that it would be a minimal, if any, impact. There were some concerns that kids were going to be shifted from schools because there'd be so many people here. But this is not like what was done over by Oaklawn School, where they were townhouses intended for families. These are not intended for families. And the school district, I think, addressed that. There are also some concerns about sewers, and I think we address those as well. We do have some sewer work to get done on Oregon Street over the next few years, but we factored in the impact of this development, because it's been planned for multifamily out there for many years, and we'll just simply address that issue, and it'll be able to be accommodated with our existing sewer.
Definitely. And to watch the Plan Commission meeting where this was discussed, we had a lot of city staff there answering a lot of really good questions. So tune into our website or go visit our website, oshkoshmedia.org, and the replays will be on GovTV as well if you're interested in seeing that. Item number 20, Resolution 17-63, approved lease agreement with Fox Valley Pro Basketball. Once again, going along with our theme of the episode with the Bucks, what exactly is this lease agreement pertaining to?
Well, before we can sell the property to the Bucks, there have to be some environmental clearances that take some time, that take some review. We're very fortunate. We're not seeing anything of major concern, and anything we do find will be relatively easy to clean up. A lot of people don't know that the Environmental Protection Agency was out there several years ago, really took care of most of it anyway. But it still has to go through these things to get approved. Meanwhile, the Bucks want to move forward. So we're going to lease them the property and permit them to build the building on the leased property until such time as we get the clean bill of health from the state. Then we'll sell it to them. But this is just to keep things going forward because we're on a very tight schedule.
Very tight schedule. Got to keep that ball rolling. And then, Mark, the one last thing that we wanted to mention, again, Bucks, and then we got to talk about Bucks staff and the demolition update and public improvements. You're going to be covering that in your announcements at the meeting. So what exactly is the update on that?
We want to make sure the council understands that we are under some very tight time constraints. So we're updating this schedule every other week so that council sees how things are moving. The Bucks want to be in the ground on the 20th of February, which is extremely aggressive. And we're going to do everything we can to accommodate that. So we're just showing them the schedule, and we're going to be revising it every 2 weeks so you can see exactly what's happening. It's actively being cleared. The site where the arena footprint's going is clearer. We just have to get some of the debris removed, as well as the footprint of the concrete pad. That's all getting done. Public improvements, I mentioned earlier, we're going to have $3.3 million in public improvements. The owners of the arena will be fronting the money to get all those public improvements done. That's improvements on 11th Avenue, South Park Avenue, some traffic signals, extra sidewalk to make the sidewalk wider over there. There used to be virtually no sidewalk. So all those different things are going to get done, and the owners will front that money, and then we're proposing a tax increment district that will reimburse them for those costs. A lot of those public improvements will benefit not just the arena but the general area, but because they're being started because of the arena, we feel it's appropriate that the TIF pay for that, so the folks will get reimbursed for that.
Wow, that's a lot of information.
It's
a big update.
So the TIF will actually be considered by the council on the February 28th meeting.
Okay, so the timeline, you'll also have a timeline and continuous updates with that for council as well.
Right, that's in our the agenda packets there that you'll be able to look at it online and see that. And I'd look at it every other week because I'm telling you, it changes all the time because it's very fluid, and the idea is we got to be ready for tip-off in November. That's extremely aggressive, and so we've got to keep ourselves on a very tight timeline.
Wonderful. Well, a lot of Bucks talk today. Finally, you got to wear your basketball tie that you had
Yes,
mentioned,
I'm so
Mark.
happy to wear that. I told you when I was wearing it, it's time to talk.
Yes.
It's time to talk, and I'm having a lot of fun.
The day has finally come. So
Yes, it
thank
has.
you, Mark, very much for all of the exciting updates, and we look forward to hearing a lot more. And once again, thanks for joining us on this episode of City Manager's Report.
Happy to do it.
Again, the City Council meeting is this Tuesday, February 14th at 6 p.m. You can watch it live on GovTV and on our website at oshkoshmedia.org, or you can listen to it on the radio at 101.9 Oshkosh FM, which is also online and on the TuneIn Radio app for mobile devices. Don't forget to like Oshkosh Media on Facebook or follow us on Twitter for all of your community and government programming and updates, or check out our YouTube channel for government meeting replays and past episodes of your favorite programs. And don't forget, if you have a question for City Manager Mark Roloff, you can send it to us on Twitter at City of Oshkosh, post it on our Facebook page, or email questionmark@ci.oshkosh.wi.us, and he'll answer it on the next episode of CMR. As always, thank you so much for joining us on City Manager's Report, and we'll see you next time.